What's going on, Sooner Nation? Good morning, good afternoon, whenever you guys are watching it. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we got to talk about something on the recruiting trail, a couple things on the recruiting trail. You see Oklahoma being included in a lot of top schools lists. It seems like recruits are sitting pretty good with Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's sitting pretty good with them. We got to talk about it. But before we do that, thank you guys for tuning into the PG Show, where we talk about all things Oklahoma athletics. And today, I'm joined by Jay over there at Unfair Sports and the Sooner or Later podcast. Is that right?
That's it. That's right. Sooner or later sports show. Yes, sir. I'll owe you content on that other channel as well. So, of course, PG, thanks for having your boy as usual.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on. And you know what? I think we got to dive right into it because you made a video about it on Sunday talking about Max Granville. And you saw the predictions flow in a couple months ago, or was it a couple months ago, or maybe even a month ago?
Yeah, it was about a month ago. Colin Kennedy dropped his right after the visit. So, yeah.
Yeah, he was on campus January 27th, and it really felt like Oklahoma is in the driver's seat since then. And recently, he scheduled 2 official visits, one to A&M on June 6th, and then back to Oklahoma on June 21st. Dude, he's explosive. Like, when you watch his film, really exciting guy. And I think even have some video up, I'll pop up here in a minute, of him just doing some hurdles on the track. But, talking to a source about Max Granville, it was told that everyone seems to be turning it up after January 27th, right? Yeah, A&M trying to get him back on campus, which I think they're getting him back on before his official visit. Penn State was pushing pretty hard. You saw Alabama, Georgia, and Lincoln Riley out at USC all show up to his high school the week after he showed up to campus with Oklahoma. So Max Granville is a guy that I really want Oklahoma to land. And I think if you land him and CJ Nixon, or you land him and Isaiah Gibson, oh man, it seems like a pretty good take. But Jay, what are your thoughts on Max Granville? Because this is a prospect that I don't think Oklahoma can miss on.
Yeah, this is he's a must win. And I mentioned that in the title of my video or whatnot. And it's more so because at his talent level and his long list of offers, kid's a beast. And as you mentioned, he runs track, so he does hurdles. I think it's 100-meter hurdles, 300. He does shot put. So he's very active in the track field. And if you've noticed, Oklahoma has a tendency of going after guys in track as well. So we like guys that do multi-sports. And, I mean, as you see the separation that he gets from everybody in his class, he also plays wide receiver on top of being an edge / linebacker / just utility dude. He does it all. So he's one of those players you really need here at Oklahoma. I know that we have a good relationship with him, but you can't let the competition get a hold of him because you're going to regret it if he ends up somewhere else.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Fort Bend Christian Academy, I don't think that's a school that Oklahoma has necessarily had a ton of success out of. So if you go out there and you get a guy like Max Granville, you establish yourself there a little bit more, it's pretty good.
No, that's a good point. And I don't think Oklahoma's had much success there. So that's actually a very good point.
Yeah. Now, looking at him being on campus June 21st, I think we have some other prospects that are going to be on campus as well. You saw Cooper Perry, the 4-star or 3-star wide receiver, schedule an official visit there. So it seems like Oklahoma is going to try to get some more guys on that day, kind of make it a big weekend for an official visit week. But you kind of wonder, right? Because we've talked about it. We've all wondered, is Emmett Jones only going to take one guy? Does he potentially take 2, depending on who wants to commit to Oklahoma? Who's going to get that last wide receiver slot? And I say that because you look at guys like a 5-star wide receiver in Caleb Cunningham, a prospect that's been ranked as a 5-star before, Andrew Marsh, who a lot of Oklahoma fans really love, Travis Smith Jr., Jacaden Ferguson, Emmanuel Choice, Royal Capel, and then, of course, Cooper Perry, the guy that scheduled the official visit first. I mean, who do you think realistically is going to be the next take for Oklahoma? Listen, I'm kind of on edge with everybody else. I want Marsh. And you know what? If you can get Cunningham as well, you take him because he's a 5-star and he's an absolute dude. But who do you think is the next take at wide receiver and maybe even the final take?
So it's kind of one of those situations where if the talent is good enough, you would take them all, right? You would take 2. You know, you wouldn't stop at that if you didn't have to. But I mean, honestly, that Caleb Cunningham is a very intriguing option. Now, I don't think we land him fully, but I've heard that he actually likes Oklahoma. Like, some of the others on the list, of course, like Isaiah Mosey, I think he's probably more so ended up in Oregon. And Cooper Perry, I think he ends up at Oregon as well. I know Tom Lloyd dropped a prediction on him a while ago. So I'm sensing he's most likely going to be there at Oregon. And I think Mosey's going to be there also. I mean, Oregon is really recruiting heavy in the Kansas area. So I don't know. They're dropping money between Kansas and Oklahoma and stealing some players that they want to get their hands on. But
Dan Lanning's from that area too.
I'd say, all right, yeah, that's true. Lanning is from that area, so he's going back to the roots, and that's what's helping. But I mean, with us having Elijah Thomas as well as Jaden Nickens and Grayson Harris, we've got a really, really talented wide receiver class so far. I don't think Oklahoma only takes one. I think they can take two, maybe. They'll probably take two, most likely, because the talent's there. They're going to do it. And I expect our wide receiver room to start seeing some transitions. I think Andrew Anthony, if he comes back healthy enough, he ends up in the draft, most likely, right? Because I think he is a senior going into next season. And then, of course, Farouk's going to be out. J.J. Hester is going to be a senior. So that's three players that's right there probably gone. Burks, depending on how good of a season he has, he can either stay or he can come back. He most likely could end up leaving out. So you got a lot of questions. The only ones that we know are going to be here, Nick Anderson, as well as Jaden Gibson, because they can't go nowhere. They underclassmen. And then you got Brennan. And so the room's going to have space to bring in some young players. And we just brought in, 4 wide receivers now in this last class. So potential somebody's going to get pushed out. Somebody's going to decide to go somewhere else. But, I mean, if I had to pick one, I mean, the one I want, I like you, Marsh and Cunningham are the two that I want to get my hands on. Period.
Yeah, now, Emmanuel Choice wouldn't be a bad. Emmanuel Choice wouldn't be a bad.
Yeah, Emmanuel Choice,
because that dude's pretty athletic.
At all. He's very athletic, and he's one of those. He's a diamond in the rough type dudes. You get him, he's going to be hitting gym, just like you would get on NCAA, and then he go out there and just show out, especially at his height. I like these tall dudes that we're going after. But that's just
they all got size. Which it amazes me that all of a sudden we're recruiting size, and it didn't feel like Lincoln Riley recruited size yet. This was kind of his area, right? Quarterbacks, offense, but yet now we're getting the size in those wide. So I don't know. Maybe he just liked small, fast dudes because you got Marquise Brown, Mario Williams, and hey, Mario Williams is down at.
But he also had Hollywood. So.
Marquise Brown. So.
No, I'm talking about Hollywood. I'm talking about CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
He had CeeDee Lamb. So.
One of the best Oklahoma wide receivers in the past 10 years. Top 3 wide receivers for Oklahoma in the past 10 years.
Easily.
Because obviously Dede Westbrook's up there.
So dang. Yeah, Dede Westbrook is up there. I mean, Shepard, you can argue for him and Bradley, but I mean that was the funny thing with CeeDee is the room was so thick that he couldn't even play as a freshman. If he would play as a freshman, he'd be more elite on that list, but he couldn't because we had so many players at the time, which is crazy to say. That we couldn't play CeeDee Lamb. I think that we're gonna have that problem this year too, with Zion Kearney and them and Ivan Carrion. If they played as freshmen, it'd be even better. But it's but we can't play them because we kind of got a really, 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 really deep wide receiver room, and they're all young.
Yep.
Right. So it's dang. I want them to play, but we got a whole bunch of young dudes. Nick's gonna be here 2 more years. Sim and Gibson. So it's what do we do?
You're going to have to process some guys out. And, Oklahoma fans are going to have to understand that when you see guys hit the portal, it's not always because they found something bigger and better. Sometimes the staff is just going to have to push people out because there's not enough space to keep them. And honestly, sometimes it's just not fair to hold on to all of that talent because those guys could go be great somewhere else and go make money. So, if you're Oklahoma, sometimes you got to look out for the betterment of the kids. But, lastly, Oklahoma threw out an offer this week to a linebacker out of Georgia. And you made a video on him, and it's Luke Metz, 3-star linebacker. Or at least it's where 247 has him rated right now. A 6'3", 210 pounds out of Mill Creek High School, which I believe is where old King Joseph Edwards was up from. And, he was huge social media presence
Yeah.
this past year, but 29 total
He
offers.
did.
A big prospect for Oklahoma. I told you in the green room, listen, I feel more like I would take Christian Jones if Christian Jones wanted to end up at Oklahoma, the 4-star top 70 player in the country, linebacker out of Omaha, Nebraska. Obviously, you have Dawson Merritt, who is scheduled an official visit with Oklahoma as well. And you got some other targets that you're looking at too. But, what are you hearing? What are you thinking about Luke Metz? Because it on paper looks like a really good prospect. I just don't know if Oklahoma takes him just yet. I feel like you want to see kind of where things go with some of your other prospects first.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of fascinating that we didn't see more about him or even seeing with a higher rankings. I mean, if I'm correct, it's what 247 is the only one that's got him actually rated.
Yeah, and he's only a
Nobody else
3-star.
does. And so and he's only a 3-star right now. And in the way he plays on film in Georgia, you would think there'd be more to it. Now, remember this too. Zach Alley worked out in Alabama at Jacksonville State, so of course he had some good quote unquote insider information on this athlete, and he's probably been keeping an eye on him. And in his list of offers, long,
29 offers, and they ain't just little offers like SEC offers, like LSU.
No, they're not. He got a lot of SEC offers, right? So. Right. That's what kind of shocked me. And that's why I try to tell people, in some of my videos and explain that you got to pay attention to what schools are looking at them. There's a reason in some situations they don't maybe camp, but when they saw them on campus at like a small camp locally, they're like, oh yeah, no. That kid's got something. We need to look at them. And you're like,
I'll give you a perfect example.
On the radar or the recruiting services.
I'll give you a perfect example. Eugene Brooks. Remember when we landed him? Everybody was calling us 3-star U. Oh, Bill Bedenbow can only get 3-star offensive linemen. Then he shows up and camps with some of the big boys, doesn't lose a rep. And where did he end up? Like top 150 player in the country? Yeah.
Abusing.
Stars early.
Like,
stars.
He's actually good, huh?
Stars this early in the process. I mean, obviously, it's nice to land the 5-star guys, but sometimes stars this early in the process, they really don't mean a lot because things change. So,
things always change.
Jay, I know you got to get
There's
going.
Something to consider when it comes to that.
Yeah, and so Jay, I know you got to get going. So go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you real quick.
Yeah, y'all know to find me. Unfair Sports. Search me on YouTube as well as wherever podcasts are downloaded and listen to, as well as Sooner or Later Sports Show. Search both of them. Usually there's a link to one or the other within my description on both channels. So check out the content. Holla at your boy. We'll have PG back on very soon too.
Oh, yeah. So, hey, we love having you on here talking about recruiting, talking about some of these prospects. And it's going to be a big year for Oklahoma. I think this is the year Oklahoma lands in the top 3 in recruiting. I think this is the year.
Yeah.
BV breaks through. Best recruiting class.
Go ahead and have Jonah go ahead and break the seal and make it happen. Same thing with Fasusi. Hopefully we can get those two. If we do, then sky's the limit at that point.
Hey, if you get Fasusi, you get Jonah Williams, you get Lincoln Cure, that's potentially 3 5-stars in this class. You're feeling pretty good about it. At that point, now you're chasing number 1. At that point, you get 3, you're chasing number 1. So, all right.
That'd be nice.
Yep. All right. Peace.